Alrighty, so the job tonight is to remove this motor out of this 2002 ZX600J model because the motor sold, and we're going to go ahead and completely strip this bike down so that we can sell the rest of the parts. Since the motor sold, the biggest part, we can go ahead and just strip everything down, label everything up, and inventory it all. So 2002 ZX6J model will be motor removal, and we're going to completely disassemble part one. Yes, I guess the next part we're going to be no, I think I just make it in one video, forget it, so no, it'll be part two. We're going to just get ready to pull the motor first and then completely disassemble the whole bike. It was in a front end wreck, junk title, so it won't be back on the road, but the motor will. Alrighty, so the first step we do, we drain all the fluids. So we got the oil draining, and silly me dropped the oil filter in the oil. No big deal, but yeah, it sucks. It's almost like anytime you do a motor swap or pull a motor, you make a mess. Almost like doing fart seals sometimes. You're gonna make a mess doing them. So we're gonna let that oil drain as much as we possibly can, and then we'll cap it off, and then we'll drain the coolant next. So we'll get the coolant. We don't want to mix the coolant in the oil, so we recycle the oil so we don't mix it. So we'll let it drain as much as possible, and then we'll go to the coolant. All right, so while draining, we decide to move the gas tank and air box, and then we'll start disconnecting wires and all the wires and the plugs, and take the carburetor off, and go from there. So the oil's done draining. So now we got the coolant draining now. So we're gonna let that drain, and then we'll remove the radiator and then go with the exhaust. So that's what we do now. All right, so we got the radiator off. And out the way. Now we're gonna take the exhaust off now. And then we'll have everything from underneath the bottom out the way. And we'll just work the top, get everything unplugged, then take we'll get everything unplugged, then we'll start with the head bolts, and then the last one we'll take out is the lower engine bolts, because we'll pivot it down, and we'll take the head bolts out first, then we'll take the top one out there, then we'll get the bottom one out, whichever order we do, but yeah, it don't take long. Okay, so we got the exhaust off now. So what we're gonna do now is go around and go ahead and take the back wheel off, and get the sprocket cover off, so we can go ahead and leave room for the chain to clear the engine. So when we take the engine down, the chain won't be the thing that's holding. Careless mistake, but trust me, I'm guilty. I've done it before, moving real fast and left the chain on. I wonder why it wasn't coming down, and so, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take the back wheel off now. Reason we're taking the back wheel off instead of just moving it up, taking the chain off, because we're gonna disassemble the whole bike. We're pulling the motor, and then we're gonna disassemble the whole bike and inventory all the parts. Now that the back wheel is off, we got the back wheel off, and then we got the sprocket covers off. So now we're gonna go ahead and proceed with completely taking off the carburetor, so we can take the carburetor off, and then we'll have access to all the coil wires and everything else, and get the starter wire cable unhooked, and get all the wiring off the motor unplugged, and then we'll go and after that we'll go and start pulling the head bolts off and get ready to drop the motor. Probably another 15-20 minutes, the motor will be out. All right, so the carburetor's off. We just left the throttle cables on it, just stretching on over there out the way. We got everything unplugged. So now we're gonna go ahead and get the, I forgot the clutch cable though. We gotta get the clutch cable out the way. So we'll get the clutch cable off, no big deal on that. And then we'll get that special bolt off there, the locking bolt on there. Get that 12mm bolt on that, and then get it on off. Heck, I can start twisting this clutch cable now. It don't take much to get them off. I can do that with I can do that single-handed sometimes. Let's see if I can hold on to that single-handedly. Let's see if I can. Sometimes you can just take the bracket. I'm tripping. I can just take the bracket off completely. Take the bracket off. I'm bugging. I don't know why it said I'm gonna unscrew the whole thing, and I can just take the bracket off, or I can just take the bolt off here and then run the cable through it. But we'll see. I'll probably just take the whole bracket off though. I ain't gotta be bothered with that. Okay, so we got the clutch cable off. We just took the whole bracket off, and then now we're going to take the special tool off and special nut, locking nut, and we machine our own locking nuts there. We just take a socket, deep socket, go over to the mill, and we machine it out. This particular one is a little bigger, but it's got more meat versus this next size up we got here, which is a little thinner. It fits in there a little snugger. And then we use a impact driver to break them off and break them back on. So we're about to tap those out and keep moving. Okay, so we got the locking nut off. Got the locking nut off, and the main bolt we end up using the bigger one to get it off with. Now we'll take the 10mm Allen wrench and then drive the spacer out, and just driving the spacer out like that, it'll get that. It helps actually push and hold the motor tight inside the frame. So we'll back it all the way out, and that'll give us the maximum clearance we need to drop it out. So now we got this head bolt off. We got the head bolt off on the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and take the nut off the bottom bolt here, and take the nut off the top bolt in the back right there, and then we'll get our center jack in there and we'll lower it down. We'll have the motor out here in a moment. Okay, so due to the funny shape of the Kawasaki oil pan, I forgot we're going to use an ATV jack. We just put a board on this side to even it out, and so we got everything, all the bolts and stuff off, and we're going to balance it out, kind of push the two bolts out already. That one's out, and then the one at the bottom is still kind of tight in there, but this one might be able to rock run on out. But we're gonna, well, I can take it out now because it's gonna rest on that, so I can actually just pull it out now probably. Yeah, there we go. Y'all get to witness this motor fall. Oh, nope. So it's balanced pretty well. We got the top one out, and so we'll jack it up a little bit, take a little tension off that bottom bolt down there, and then we'll be pulling out. Stand by, you'll see it. Okay, so all the bolts are out now, and so basically we're gonna have to wiggle it out, make it go forward a little bit to clear the frame, and go from there. I'm gonna try to bump it down some to see. Nope, she's up there. She's high. So yeah, we'll get the spacers out. I see I forgot about a spacer on this side. Forgot about the spacers. We got a spacer right here, right there. So let me see if I can get some tension off of it to get that space out. Nope, gotta drop it down some just to get that space out. I'll bump it with the mallet. Let's see, I probably can bump it because once I take that off, she's gonna drop. So let me go ahead and use two hands. Okay, so we got the space out. So now we got all our clearance out the way. So she should be able to come right on out. As you can see, we can bump it over a little bit, and she's balanced enough. I should be able to drop it down slow. We always check and make sure there's no wires, no nothing connected, and then we'll bump the brakes and we'll bump it down, make sure that the safety done's not there. We'll lower down and get her out of there. Yep. So ATV jack, look at that. It's worked with a block of wood on these ZX6, a lot of the Kawasaki's. And this was in a front end wreck, so the front end is up some. Typically we would use a front end jack, but it's so bent, it's bent in so much that it's higher. And but these little motors can clear that frame. So now I can roll out now and clear that frame already. Let me move some stuff out the way. So I can actually roll out and clear that frame. So there you go. And there we go. And just like that, the motor is out. No big deal.